welcome back to another episode of Chat About Tay. I'm your host, Bella, and in this episode, I'm going to be chatting about some Taylor Swift news that we've gotten so far in 2026. So, my last episode was all about the 2026 predictions that I had for Taylor Swift, and one of those has already come true. And that prediction was that Taylor Swift will be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, and she will. At 36, Taylor will become the second youngest songwriter ever inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. She's joining the ranks of Stevie Wonder, who was only 33 when he was inducted in 1983. And this was announced recently. I'm so excited. So I definitely saw this coming, obviously, with my prediction. And I did an entire episode about her entries into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. So if you're interested in hearing all of that about that and more about the Songwriters Hall of Fame, you can check out that episode. But I'm so excited that she is going to be inducted. And I guess there's going to be a ceremony later this year in New York City. So I don't believe that will be televised. I'm sure she'll be posting about it, on Instagram, or maybe there'll be articles and stuff about it. But I don't believe those ceremonies are televised at all. Hopefully we'll just see maybe like her dress that she's wearing to the event. And I don't know if people perform at them or not, but this is definitely a very, very big deal. And the ceremony will be held on June 11th. So we have quite a while until that happens, but I'm very, very excited for her. So I wanted to read the announcement article from the Songwriters Hall of Fame website. Musical icons Walter Afanasieff, Terry Britten and Graham Lyle, Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons of Kiss, Kenny Loggins, Alanis Morissette, Christopher Tricky Stewart, and Taylor Swift will become the latest inductees of the Songwriters Hall of Fame at the organization's 2026 Induction and Awards Gala. These legendary songwriters are credited with mega hits such as All I Want for Christmas Is You, Hand in My Pocket, Rock and Roll All Night, What's Love Got to Do with It, Footloose, Single Ladies, and All Too Well 10-minute version, Taylor's version. The star-studded event is slated for Thursday, June 11th at the Marriott Marquis Hotel in New York City and will not be open to the general public. Additional special award honorees will be announced soon. Songwriters Hall of Fame Chairman Nile Rodgers expressed, "The music industry is built upon the incredible talent of songwriters who create unforgettable songs. Without their artistry, there would be no recorded music, concert experiences, or engaged fans. Everything originates from the song and its creator. We take great pride in our ongoing commitment to recognizing some of the most culturally significant composers in history. This year's lineup not only showcases iconic songs, but also celebrates unity across various genres. These songwriters have profoundly impacted the lives of billions of listeners worldwide, and it's our privilege to honor their contributions." Then they go on to list some of the key songs from these inductees' catalogs. So obviously Taylor Swift's All Too Well 10-minute version, Blank Space, Antihero, Love Story, and The Last Great American Dynasty are listed on here. But Christopher Tricky Stewart wrote Umbrella, Single Ladies, Alanis Morissette, You Oughta Know, Hand in My Pocket. And then my favorite rock band of all time is actually Kiss. So I'm really excited that Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons are going to be inducted as well. So their picks were Rock and Roll All Night, I Love It Loud, Calling Dr. Love, Shout It Out Loud, and Christine 16. My favorite song by them is I Was Made for Loving You, which was not on this list, but I understand the ones that they picked. Like I totally understand based on their catalog why they picked those specific songs. So I'm so excited to hear more about this ceremony and some other people that they're going to be announcing as well. And the Marriott Marquis in New York City, I've actually been there before, and it's a beautiful venue, and it's going to be awesome. And it's right in the heart of Times Square, but there are obviously places within that hotel, because it's huge, where they can host the ceremony and make it private. So I'm very, very excited for Taylor for this. Although I haven't seen anything on social media specifically from Taylor regarding this, but there's been obviously so many articles and stuff. But then the Kelsey Brothers account, which is like Travis and Jason Kelsey's, like, I don't know if it's like their PR account or it's just like a account where they post stuff about themselves. They also post about Kylie Kelsey, and then they post about Taylor Swift as well. They posted all about this on their channels. So maybe she's kind of using that platform as a way to get news out to the fans, because a lot of her fans do follow that account. So maybe it's not that big of a deal if she didn't post it on her own social media. But I kind of wish she would have said something, but it's not a big deal. I follow basically everything with Taylor Swift, so it's not like I'm not going to hear about this news. Other news, on January 11th, the Golden Globes happened and Taylor was not in attendance, but apparently she was referenced quite a bit during the ceremony. So some of her music was played during the award ceremony, I guess before the award ceremony, including The Fate of Ophelia, and her ex Joe Alwyn was in attendance. So, I mean, her music is literally everywhere. So I feel like you're going to hear it. And I'm assuming that Joe Alwyn is probably used to hearing her music. So I don't really know why people are like obsessing over that specific fact, but I did want to mention it. And then the host, Nikki Glazer, who is a really, really funny comedian, she referenced Taylor Swift many times during her speeches, and she brings up Taylor quite a lot. So I thought that was kind of funny that, you know, she was bringing her up and everything. I think a lot of people expect Taylor Swift to show up at award shows just in general because she's such a household name, and any event that she goes to is obviously going to be like way more hyped and way more discussed. So I think people just assume that she's going to show up to things, but I mean, she wasn't nominated or anything, and you know, a lot of her friends were there as well, but like it doesn't really make sense for her to be attending this year. Another huge thing with Taylor Swift news is regarding the Blake Lively Justin Baldoni whole lawsuit or whatever thing is going on between them. I never really delved into that too much, but apparently a bunch of text messages between Taylor Swift and Blake Lively were published somewhere, and people are, you know, going back on the hate train with Taylor a little bit. And there's just a lot of discourse about that, and people were discussing the song Canceled as well. There were just a bunch of like text messages between the two of them that were released, and there was a lot of like stuff about Blake and Taylor's relationship specifically, like in those text messages and stuff. And I'm not really going to go into it too much because it is their personal life, but I did want to bring that up, that there was a lot more information that came out about that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in like that case or that, you know, whole thing, there's more information out there, but I'm not really going to go too much into it right now. Now, back to another one of my predictions that came true. I think I mentioned in the beginning that one of them came true, but another did come true. Opalite is the official next single from the Life of a Showgirl album, and she did release like single variants on her merch store. Like, you know, you could buy like a single CD with just the song Opalite, and then she released also the acoustic version as well. Those acoustic songs were released a while ago, but she released that as like a single. And the cover for the single is her playing an acoustic guitar, obviously playing the song Opalite, and people believe that this outfit she's wearing is from this Apple Music podcast that she had done when The Life of a Showgirl was released. So potentially we could be getting like live recordings of those acoustic songs, because she's clearly like singing and playing guitar in this photo. So it makes me believe that all of those acoustic songs that she did release for Life of a Showgirl were actually like recorded. So, well, obviously they were recorded, but like they were filmed. You know, her performing them was filmed. So maybe we'll be getting a couple of music videos like that, or just like those performances maybe will be released like on YouTube or something. So that's very exciting. And then obviously with that single, I would imagine, is going to come out with a music video. So I think really only part of my theory was correct, but I do think we could be seeing an Opalite music video, and I'm just really, really excited because Opalite is definitely the best song on that album, and I think it's like the fans' like favorite song on the album. So when you go to her merch store, you can still purchase the Opalite singles. So there's just the single CD with the double-sided cover, and then the Opalite A Life is a Song acoustic version CD with double-sided cover as well, and that picture, like I mentioned, is like an actual performance that she is doing of the song. So that's what I was talking about. I believe that those are potentially going to be released as videos on YouTube, because that she had so many different acoustic versions for The Life of a Showgirl. And in addition to the Opalite acoustic version, the other acoustic versions that she released last year were The Fate of Ophelia, Elizabeth Taylor, Opalite, of course, Eldest Daughter, Ruin the Friendship, Wish List, and Life of a Showgirl featuring Sabrina Carpenter. So a couple of those already came out like as like single variants on her merch store, but right now she is heavily pushing the Opalite single. So I have a feeling the music video is bound to happen soon. She also released another remix of The Fate of Ophelia, the Loud Luxury remix. She did release a Chainsmokers remix as well a little bit ago. So we have two remixes of The Fate of Ophelia. So she normally picks one or two songs from her albums to do a lot of remixes with. So I'm assuming The Fate of Ophelia is just the one that she decided to pick because that's the main single from the album, and that's going to generate probably the most listens because it's like like the main single from the album, so that makes sense that she would have picked that one. And then there has been some news about Travis Kelce. He still has not announced if he is going to be coming back to play football for another year or if he's going to retire. And so a lot of people are speculating that they might be pushing their wedding back. There were like some rumors that they said they were going to push the wedding back, but I don't really believe that unless it's coming specifically from, their mouths. So that's just rumors for now. And he said right now it's just finding that answer and seeing how the body feels after this final game and when it all settles down. He said that at the end of the 2025 season. So he's just deciding whether or not he wants to do it. And, I'm not a sports person. I played a lot of sports when I was young, but I hated all of them. But doing sports and physical activity like that is really, really hard on your body. So, I mean, it makes sense that, a lot of these football players retire when they're young, I guess. I mean, he's not like 20 years old, but, retiring before you're 40 kind of thing and then becoming an announcer or a coach yourself. So I think it did make sense that he proposed to Taylor last year because, if he was thinking, I'm going to be retiring from actually playing football and maybe going on to doing, announcing or something like that, that's a good time for him to get married and everything. So he really hasn't fully like decided and announced if he's going to be retiring or not. But, I think that does, tie into like when they're going to get married as well. And then there was some stuff about how Travis didn't really understand the meaning of the song Wood when it first came out. And when she said the new heights of manhood, and he said, I don't know what the expletive means, but she's disappointed. What does that mean? What is a man hoodie? Is that a thing? So he just didn't really understand the new heights of manhood. It was just a play on the New Heights podcast, but then also like, what the song Wood is about. This is a family friendly podcast, so I'm not going to say that. But if you know what the song Wood is about, it's kind of funny that he didn't understand that reference. So that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed hearing some Taylor Swift news from January 2026. And I am really, really excited for the Songwriters Hall of Fame induction. And I just think that's such an incredible honor. And I would have been very shocked if she didn't get selected for that because, I mean, when you look at songwriting and especially pop songwriting, she is dominating and she has always been such an incredible songwriter. And I think it would have just been such a shame and just such a bad move if they didn't include her in the induction for this year. So that's just really amazing. And the fact that she is the youngest woman and like the second youngest person to be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame is also just such a huge feat. But yeah, I'm really excited for this year. I'm really hoping that we get an Opalite music video soon. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing what Taylor Swift is going to be doing in 2026. So as always, stay safe, stay classy, and I'll chat again with you soon. Goodbye. This episode, you can find us on Spotify, Good Pods, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. See you there.